Welcome everyone to another MStranslate research summary video. So you may have seen in the media over the past few days that there's been some discussion about new trial results for stem cell therapy, or AHSCT, as a treatment for multiple sclerosis. Now we will certainly be discussing those results and bringing that information to you, but we thought before we did that it was important to go back over what exactly is AHSCT, because it's something that we know creates some confusion in the community and where there's still some misconceptions. So what is it? If we go through what all of those letters actually mean, AHSCT, first we have autologous. The A stands for autologous, and really it means the same. This isn't the sort of transplant where things are coming from a different individual to be transplanted into someone else. It's your own cells that are being taken out and put back in. So what are those cells? Well, those cells are the HSC part of HSCT, and that stands for hematopoietic stem cell. Now, without going into all of the detail that you can see in the image here, really what hematopoietic stem cells are cells that have the ability to divide into different sorts of cells that make up your immune system. Then the T, well, the T is the transplant. And as we've already talked about, that involves the fact that these cells are taken out of an individual, chemotherapy is used to destroy the existing cells, and then those cells that are taken out are transplanted back in. Now that's what all of those words mean, but what's the actual rationale or the scientific reasoning behind why we would use this treatment in multiple sclerosis? So I'm going to start by using an analogy to try and explain how this relates to MS. So let's take the example of one day you open up your fridge and you can tell that there's something that's gone off in there. The fridge stinks. You don't know exactly what it is, but you can tell that there's something wrong in there. So your options are to either try and isolate what the smell is, or to take everything in the fridge and chuck it out. And you know that if you take everything that's in that fridge and throw it out, then you're definitely going to get rid of the source of that smell, the source of that bad smell. But once you've done that, we still need to eat. So the third step would then be to restock the fridge with fresh food. Now really we can adopt that principle and that same logic to talk about what happens in AHSCT. So in the fridge example, we knew that there was the cause of the smell was coming from that fridge, and the same thing is true in this treatment. We've isolated the cause of the damage, and in MS, in multiple sclerosis, we know that it's the immune system that's causing that damage. So when we said we chucked out everything that was in the fridge, well, we can remove the cause of the damage in MS as well by using chemotherapy in this instance. So chemotherapy will either remove or partly remove the immune system depending on what approach is used, and there's different mechanisms that are being applied around the world in these trials. But in the same way that we needed to restock the fridge at the end of this, we also need to restock the immune system or replace that with a fresh stock, and that's what those cells are done. So when we take out, that's what those cells do. So when we take out those HSCs, those hematopoietic stem cells, at the start of the treatment and replace them, that's what we're doing. We're resetting the immune system. We're putting in a fresh immune system. And the whole point being is that we're putting in these cells back in a naive state, in a state before they knew to attack the myelin. So the point being that we're putting them in where they're not going to cause this damage. Now, one thing that we have to be really careful about when we talk about AHSCT is that because these cells are still coming from the same individual, even though they're now fresh cells, they're still potentially the cells that could come back and cause the damage in the future if they encounter that same trigger that caused them to do it in the first place. And so we need to be really careful about whether or not we call this a cure or just a really effective treatment at this stage. Anyway, hopefully that explains the science behind what AHSCT is and explains to you exactly what's going on in this treatment. We will be reporting on those trial results shortly. As with everything we post on MStranslate, we do ask that you like, comment, and share on these posts. The more engagement that you have with our posts, the better it is for us, but also more importantly, the information gets out to as many people in the MS community as possible. And this is information that we think is really important, so that's going to help us get that word out. Thanks everyone. I look forward to talking to you again soon.